Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Silver Linings. In Iowa, and we're going to be talking about domestic violence. Hey, Rasel, there you are. Can you hear
Hi,
me okay?
Steve. Yeah.
All right. Well, you're looking good this morning. Things going well for you?
It's early in the morning.
That's a good answer. It is early in the morning, and I'm sure that we both got up quite early this morning just so that we could be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Well, I haven't had
Um,
my coffee yet.
well, I'm drinking water. I usually have coffee, but that's okay. Water will do for me for now. So usually I think you said when you don't have coffee, it's really it's a different it's different. Without the coffee. Like for me, I've got to have a first cup of coffee before I really wake up.
Yeah, as long as I got my Mountain Dew, I'm good.
Hey, do the do. Yep. So that's good stuff there. I usually have an energy drink myself, and I forgot to have the energy drink this morning. But I think we'll both be good here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to let people know about you and your story. And this is the first time I think you've actually talked about your domestic violence story in public, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so don't be nervous. Obviously, it's easier said than done. Because I remember being nervous the first time I was on. It's like what? Oh, I'm on what? I'm on live. So just
Right.
we just both will work together on this. So um, just basically before we get into the subject matter, where are you at now? You're in Iowa, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's just briefly tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'm 44. Most of my domestic violence was from my stepdad when I was 13. I have my own kids and stuff now. Moved to Iowa. Everything happened in Branson at the time.
Okay.
But, me and my mom and my kids are up here now. My mom was also a victim. So, but I'll be telling our story. I've been working with Deborah Watson with Not Too Far From Here. I became an advocate for Des Moines. So, and she was the first person that I really opened up to, and we did our interview, and then she set me up with you.
Yeah, she's really helped a lot of people out. In fact, the movie that we did together, the first time I met her, we did something with PTSD, and I had no idea that I even had it until I saw that movie and understood more about it. And so she's really a good person to go to get information. And we uh, we really I've really enjoyed her company, and her husband Mike has really been a great help to me as well, and Rachel, and hopefully we'll get a chance to meet each other in person, and you and I, and I'm looking forward to it because Iowa's not the it's right up the street, isn't it?
I'm actually 6 hours from Branson. I do that drive a lot.
Oh man, I 6 hours. That's not bad. I thought it was like more like 8 or 9, but you know, I'm not very good at directions, so I'm one of those people that have to stop at a gas station and ask for no. We've got Google now, I think, or we've got GPS to help us out. We don't have to rely on paper maps. At least I don't.
Well, when you get down into the Missouri Hills, though, sometimes it don't work.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So so with going back to your story, Iowa, is that a lot of farmland? I can't remember if it's a lot of farmland where you're at or not.
I'm in the middle of the state capital, so
Oh,
no.
I guess that would be a big no. I
I can
I
see
don't
the
know why I
Capitol
was thinking
building.
Iowa. Pardon?
I can see the Capitol building from my back porch.
Well, I guess you really are in the capital. Wow, it's like I can see Russia. No, oh boy. So let's get into your situation here. Can I let's go back to you being 13 and just tell us exactly what transpired.
Well, let me give you a little backstory first
Okay,
before we get into how this.
sure.
My mom married my stepdad when I was 8. Um, you know, we moved around a lot after they got married. Finally, my stepsister came to live with us. We were always fighting, stuff like that. And I was led to believe that he was my real father when my mom and dad got a divorce and she married my stepdad
Hmm.
because, you know, she it was easier for my mom to get me away from my dad so she could move me. Um, so, I mean, we moved from California to Illinois to Texas, back to Illinois. Then we were going on a family vacation to Branson. Well, that turned into we moved to Branson.
Hmm.
We'd been in Branson, I don't know, not even a year. And I mean, we were abused. My stepdad was abusive through the whole thing. I just found out like back in 18 that he actually tried to molest my stepsister also. He had sexually molested me. He abused my mom. He abused me. Um, it was a constant, he'd keep everybody fighting so that none of the focus was on what he was doing. He was working at a nursing home down in Branson. We were living at the old Cadwell Trailer Park, which was out on 248, which is now some theater since Cadwell
Yes.
passed away. Uh, we'd been there for a while, got to know, some of the people around us, not really a lot. We had a police officer, well, Taney County Sheriff living across the drive. It was like a gravel road. It was a big trailer park. And they lived in the house. And, you know, my friends had seen the abuse. They'd seen me abused. They finally convinced me, you need to ask for help. So I let them convince me to go to the school counselor. Well, of course, at the time I'm going to Branson High or junior high. And so I went and talked to the school counselor. Next thing, the school counselor, okay, we'll get you some help, go back to class. Kind of like, yeah, whatever. Well, they called my mom and my stepdad.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So then they sent my mom and my stepdad to counselor. So the counselor's asking all these questions, is he abusive? Is he doing this? Has he touched her? Is he? And of
Oh
course,
boy, yeah.
she's sitting right next to my stepdad, and they're
Uh-huh.
asking her all these questions. You're gonna deny it. You're not gonna. So they said, oh well, you just need counseling. So they sent my mom and my stepdad up with counseling a couple weeks later. They went to counseling session. They told my mom and my stepdad, well, the girls need ground rules. The girls are the problem. They need discipline. They need rules. They need discipline. So he's sitting down at the table after they got home and he's like, okay, well, we need to make the ground rules for the girls, blah, 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 blah. My mom goes, it's not the girls. It's you.
Oh man. Fireworks then, right
She said she wanted a divorce.
after.
So me and my stepsister were at school still. Well, he proceeded after when she said that, he proceeded to strip her down. She
Oh
has
boy.
dentures, so he took her dentures. He took all of her jewelry off of her, put her on the bed, and mom, of course, mom's like, well, sex ain't gonna fix anything. He's like, proceeded to strangle her. If they can't find a body, they can't prove a thing. So me and my stepsister, she remembers him waking her up saying the girls are going to be home, get up and get dressed. Well, me and my stepsister got home. Of course, I seen the bruises on my mom's neck, and I fought back because I knew that he tried to strangle her. Well, 13 years old, you don't hurt my mom. Well, that got not got hit, but he dragged me to my room by my hair.
Oh,
So we figured, because this was a
oh
Friday, and we
yeah.
figured he'd get up and go to work the next morning. So we figured,
Hey,
we stayed up
Rasel,
all.
could you hold that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you hold that thought? We'll be right back right after this.
People that have mental illness are not weak. They're the strongest people I know because we've had to endure so much.
Okay, we're back. This is Rasel Hall. She's talking about her life and her unfortunate case of domestic violence, and we're back. So, Rasel, continue.
So, he dragged me we figured he'd go to work the next morning. So me and my mom stayed up all night. Of course, we only had a 2-bedroom trailer, so my stepsister's room was kind of partitioned off from the living room, so she technically was in the same room with us. Mom was on the couch. We stayed up all night. Saturday, we figured, he'll go to work. He called in. He didn't go in. So I finally convinced him to let me call my best friend and talk to her because he hadn't been letting us talk to anybody or nothing. Well, we had our own little code that how we talk, so he couldn't understand that, because she was also one of the ones that went with me to the counselor, and she tried telling her parents about what had happened. And so I told her, I said, he's already tried to strangle my mom. We need help. We need to get out. We can't get out. He didn't go to work. He's not letting us go outside, nothing, but it wasn't, I didn't say those words exactly. We had our own little, way of talking, so she knew what it meant. Well, she
Clues.
told her yeah. So she told her parents what was going on. Of course, like I said, this is Saturday. And her parents said, well, if we don't hear from them by tomorrow, we'll call the cops. So me and Alicia, I ran down and checked the mail, little things to try to get out of the house, just see if I could get help. Well, he was
Right.
right there watching the whole time. So none of us could get away to get help. And, before all this, he had filled my mom's car completely up with gas. He'd filled his truck completely up with gas. We found out later that he'd actually put clothes and stuff in our car to make it look like my mom had left and taken us girls with her. So we couldn't stay up any longer and we ended up falling asleep. My mom was on the couch. I was on the floor by the couch. And he'd made my stepsister sleep in my bedroom, which was at the other end of the trailer, at the very back.
Right.
So my mom said she woke up, she thought she heard somebody scream. Well, when she sat straight up on the couch, of course, I'd been holding my mom's hand. So when she sat up on the couch, my hand came down and hit him, but I didn't know what it was. Well, it woke me up. And my mom sat straight up on the couch and put both of her hands up on her head like this. And when she came down, both of her hands were covered in blood. She looked down and she
Oh,
could see
man.
the blood. She could see blood coming down the side of my face. And she's like, "What did you do?" Well, she didn't remember my stepsister actually being the one to scream. But I had talked to her and found out that she had heard something strange, even though she used to have my radio on in the room to try to block out noises. Well, she heard something that didn't sound right. So she came out into the living room and seen him with something above his head or above, and was getting ready to come down with it when she screamed. And that's actually what brought my mom out of it. And that's what woke me up. Found out he drug us up onto the couch, totally show somebody broke into the house. They attacked them. We need to get their heads cleaned up. We need to stop the bleeding, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So she went and got wet towels. Of course, she didn't wring them out. Well, he tried putting them on and I threw them off. And I'm like, no, it's not going to stop it. Alicia, you need to get out. And so he dragged me and my mom both up onto the couch and had us in headlocks, one on each side of him. And, trying to tell her, oh, we need friends, we need towels, you need to, just, we don't need anybody, don't leave, all this, that, and the other. And so we finally convinced Alicia, if you don't get out, he's going to try to kill you too. We're pretty much already dead.
Mm-hmm.
So she got out. Well, he tried to get up, and of course, me and my mom held him back with what strength we did have. When we finally knew I figured she was far enough away, then I broke loose from him, and he actually went out the back door thinking, you can't get out the front door, because I was fumbling trying to get the door unlocked. So he went out the back door after my stepsister. Well, I got the door open, and I drugged my mom, of course, barefooted, just a t-shirt. That's what I slept in. Running across the street to where I knew the sheriff's truck was. And I hit their door, and actually, as hard as I hit it, because I used to run track and cross country, and as hard as I hit their door, I actually, when I hit it, because it was dead bolted, I actually busted the door frame around the hinges and the deadbolt. So he didn't know what was coming through his front door. I mean, I had that much adrenaline.
I was just going to say, that's a lot of adrenaline.
Well, see, I used to run track and cross country.
Right.
So, I mean, I'd do a 50-yard dash. I mean, I did a mile in 5 minutes, 3 seconds, and that's up and down hills cross country. So, me being barefooted on gravel, didn't feel any of that pain. But they didn't know what was coming through the door, didn't know what was behind us. But we both, he opened the door. We both fell in on the floor. They seen all the blood. He had left his gun in the truck that night. So he went out to get his gun. Sheriff left his gun in the vehicle. Not, the brightest. Boy. So he went out to get his gun. Well, they had a cat that they tied up outside. He got tangled up in the cat. My stepdad was already into his yard. If he'd had his gun, my stepdad would have been dead right there on the spot. My stepdad turned around and took off and got in his truck and left. So I'm laying on the floor, mom's on the floor. His wife's a nurse, which we didn't know that. She put, cloth to try to stop the bleeding on the back of my mom's head. And she said when she did, her hand went all the way into my mom's skull and could feel her brain.
Oh, no.
So they had radioed it in, and they said that he was headed north on 248. Well, I didn't know north, south, east, or west. I still don't sometimes.
I don't either.
And as soon as they said that, I'm like, he's headed to my best friend's house out on HH Highway. I knew exactly where he was going because she knew too much. He knew she knew by that point.
Okay. Rasel, let's hold that thought. We're going to be right back right after this. That was brought to you by Queen City Insane Asylum. Is that a football team there, Johnny?
Yep.
Okay.
Right in Springfield.
Oh, it's right here in Springfield, man. Okay. Continue, Rasel. Man, you've had a rough life so far, but believe me, folks, there is a silver lining to this, and there's some good news at the end. So continue, Rasel.
So he headed out to her house. Of course, they're trying to get us in the ambulance, this, that, and the other. And of course, I'm listening to the police scanner. So they get us all rushed to the hospital. Well, of course, at the time, the hospital in Branson wasn't equipped to handle anything like this.
It was a small hospital at that time.
It was Skaggs at the time still. Considering it was November of 1990 when this happened. But yeah, Skaggs, they didn't have the equipment. They managed to stabilize us the best they could. Of course, at that time, they didn't have the life flight and all that to get from Branson to Springfield. So they had to take us by ambulance.
Right.
And the only way you could go was Highway 65. So, anybody familiar with the area knows that's a 45-minute drive.
Yes.
Approximately.
It is.
And
a long 45
ambulance,
minutes.
Yeah. So they're trying to keep us stabilized. Well, when we left Skaggs and headed to Springfield, they gave my mom a 20% chance to live en route. They gave me a 50-50. So they got us to Springfield. It took reconstructive surgery. They found out that he'd hit my mom 7 times and had hit me twice. Well, at that time, they still didn't know what he had used. So the police had searched the trailer, couldn't find anything. Didn't know what they'd used. When they found my stepdad's truck, because I told them that he was headed to my best friend's. So when they found his truck, it was parked if you are familiar with HH Highway, and down there they have like the concrete. They're like little concrete bridges that the water, if it gets too high, it goes over the top of. You don't really have. So where her house was, the only way in and out from her house was that bridge. And he parked his truck at an angle across the bridge where no cars could get around it. And of course the water was up, so the cops couldn't drive across the creek to get over to her house. Right. So they had to go on foot. He completely blocked all access to get vehicles over there. So they had to go on foot to her house, but they had already, I blurted out her phone number and had, the officer that was with me call before they ever put us in transport, So so a week goes by. Of course, my best friend and her family, they tell her, you need to leave your house. They're like, we're not going anywhere. It's my property. He steps foot on my property if I see him. I already know he's tried to kill them. He's after my family. It's shoot to kill. I don't care. I'll call you when there's a body. So we're still in Springfield. They finally, we're both able to be awake. They had us in a room under guard. Didn't have us listed of who we were or anything up there. And, caseworkers who came in, people would come in and talk to us, asked us if we knew what it was that he used, blah, blah, blah. Had no clue. So my landlord was at the cops, and the cops are sitting there. They've searched this house, supposedly.
Right.
My landlord sits down in the chair that had been at the head above me when I was sleeping on the floor. There was a chair sitting there. Well, he sits down in the chair, and the handle for the hammer pops up. So when he had come down for the next strike but realized he couldn't hit me, he stuck it down in between the arm of the chair and the cushion.
Oh
So it
boy.
took my landlord sitting in the chair to find it because the cops, they obviously didn't know how to look. They found a
Right.
hammer. They also found a hammer underneath my dresser in my bedroom. So he had every intention of figuring me and my mom would be gone with the hammer that he had in the living room, and then he'd use a second hammer, which is in my room, to take out my stepsister.
They're supportive and they're really listening. There's a lot of people watching. Let her know that.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So
Uh, there is like I said, we're going to get into this in just a few minutes, but there, folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're listening and watching, we greatly appreciate this, and we need to support Rasel and what she's doing, and we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. Go ahead, Rasel.
okay, so to kind of sum it up a little bit, um, they had DHS come talk to me. Well, DHS tried to tell my mom that they were going to take me and put me into protective custody, and that she was losing custody of me because she allowed this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they didn't realize I was in the same room with her because it was her bed when you first came in, and then mine was behind a curtain. I flew the curtain open and I pinned the caseworker between the wall and the door, or between the door and, me, because she just backed
Right.
up. And the officers were like, "You need to back off." I said, "She needs to back off." My mom did everything she could possibly do to try to help us. We told our family. I seen the bruises. They knew what was all going on. And you know what my family told my mom? You
No.
need to figure it out and fix your divorce. You need to fix your marriage.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And during the time that they were still looking for him, because he was on the loose for
Mm.
a week in Branson. When they found him, he was wearing women's underwear. He had a switchblade in his pocket, and he was wandering around downtown Branson before the landing existed. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am.
Oh.
But when he had been spotted on her property prior to that, and they shot at him. Well, apparently the police officers don't know how to shoot because they hit the propane tank instead.
Ah.
But he had lived in my best friend's barn and killed cows and everything else out there. They found dead carcasses, and he was eating things raw. Yeah.
He was demented, basically. Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
pretty much, because he said he used to cross dress, and when he was dressed as Cindy, he wasn't abusive.
Oh boy. Well, so it was a split personality.
Kind of. I mean, now they say he's diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I don't know. They gave me a whole list when we'd have the parole hearings.
Mm-hmm.
Because he
So
is
where's he
now,
now?
well, when they sentenced him to 2 counts of aggravated assault. Not attempted murder, aggravated assault. Well, in the
That's
state of Missouri, aggravated assault for 1 count is 30 years. That's a life sentence in the state of Missouri. A life sentence
Mm-hmm.
is 30 years. They were to serve consecutively, which is 2 back-to-back. Okay?
Right.
So that would be 60 years before, the way they explained it, 60 years before he would come up for parole. Mind you, he was sentenced in 91. April
Right.
of 91 was when he was sentenced. By 2012, he came up for his first parole hearing. And if I hadn't had a gut feeling, I need to call and find out where he is in prison, where he's, what happened to him when they took him from the Taney County jail, and find out where he is, I wouldn't even have known that he had come up for parole. Neither would my mom, because they said they couldn't find the victims to notify us. But if you do the math, 91 to 12? Yeah. 2012 is how many years? That's not even 30 years. So they said
Yeah.
15 years, and then they slapped the other 15. So he'd have to serve a total 30 before he'd get a chance at parole. He's now in
Wow.
Farmington Correctional Facility.
Okay. We're going to take our final break, and then right after this, we're going to kind of jump to the project that you're currently working on, and because we'd like to hear a silver lining to this. We'll be right back. Well, hey, there you are. Okay, now we're gonna switch things up a little bit. We're gonna get some silver lining to this story. That's a powerful story, Rasel. It really is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to you and your situation, and I'm sure there's a lot more. And we hope that if you're watching, we hope that you're taking notes, and we want you to get a hold of somebody in the domestic. I don't have a domestic hotline right now, but we're going to talk about a great project that our friend Deborah Watson from Studio 222. She's got an amazing cast and crew, and ready to roll in a new movie that we're filming, and that's not too far from here. So let's hear about that.
Like I said, I met Deb, like I said, when I introduced myself, and she got me involved in the Not Too Far From Here.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably tell them a little bit about the movie more than I can. But
Right, right.
I became an ambassador for Not Too Far From Here, and I've been helping Deb in the Des Moines area. Well, we have bracelets that are from Studio 222 that say Not Too Far From Here on them. I don't have the actual packaging, but the packaging on the back has the national hotline and the logo.
Okay.
But you can text "Love Is" to pound 22522.
Could you repeat that one more time?
Nope, you can't see it. It's "Love Is" to 22522.
Okay.
And with a police officer handing this to a woman that they go on a domestic violence, they will take it out of the packaging, of course, because they don't want the abuser to know that it's for the national hotline, which it has the national hotline number on it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in an abusive situation and you know you can't leave, handing you a bracelet like this doesn't really tell the abuser what they're doing. It just, here's a bracelet. They don't know what it means unless they actually text it themselves. But yeah, it gives them an outlet and way to get help, because
Yep.
you can't always leave. It's not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I've learned, never tell your abuser you're leaving, because we got lucky. We survived. If it hadn't been for my stepsister coming out and screaming because she heard something that didn't sound right, me and my mom would have been dead. We would have not survived. And
Wow.
you don't tell somebody. Mom made the mistake. She told him she wanted a divorce. And
Bad mistake.
it's a big mistake. But our system is broken. It is very broken, especially for kids. As a teenager, my school counselor should have gotten help, not called my stepsister or stepmom, uh, my stepdad and
Yeah.
my mom.
Right.
They took the wrong steps.
Well, we
There was
just
proof of
appreciate
the
you all.
abuse. I had the bruises, and through everything, every time they asked if I'd been sexually abused, I said no. Because at 8 years old, when you're being abused, and through till I was 12, 13 when all this happened, he told me that if I ever told anybody, that he would kill me. Okay, when you get me on a witness stand in a courtroom, and you ask me this, he's sitting in the courtroom. I didn't know that he was going to get sentenced. So I said no. He threatened to kill me. He already tried to kill me. But
Right.
the system is broken. It really is. But the silver lining in this is I helped at 13 years old. I helped set up the Women's Crisis Center in Taney County. I worked with a lady named Dorothy and a lady named Barbara, and they're the ones that helped me. I've been in contact with Dorothy, which is very surprising because she's in her 90s. But it was really good to
Wow.
talk to her. I did find out that Barbara had passed away. So I haven't been in touch with, wasn't able to get in touch with her. But Deb helped me find, at least helped me find Dorothy. So, but Deb has been
Yeah.
Deb's been my
Mhm.
encouragement
Yeah.
to open up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Encouragement. You've been so brave in all this. Now, what we're talking about, as far as not too far from here, it's based on a book by Kim Kariba or Kim Boyce. And the movie is basically through the eyes of a teenage young lady in domestic violence and how she views it through her eyes. And it really tells a story that you can get help. There is hope and there is relief at the end. So um, you just have to reach out. Now, there's bracelets that you told that you're in Iowa. You're an ambassador. Is that it? And you're actually handing these bracelets out to police departments and other first responders.
Yes, I've been working with one of the sergeants up here. And I'm working with Deb to try to get more bracelets up here.
Right. I'm trying to get bracelets.
Because, well, they're $2 a piece, but you can buy anywhere from $2 to I think it's $1,400,
Is there
$1,400.
a website that they can go to find this out? Because I forgot the address. I thought I had it with me, but I don't. So, Deb, if
I
you're watching,
thought
I
I did.
apologize.
I know Deb is. Yeah, I forgot it too.
It's okay. Well, you know what, folks?
It's
We
okay,
will
Deb.
get that address to you, the web address. If not today, we will make sure that it gets posted on either our website at Axe Media Group. Yes.
Deb just posted it. It's www.studio22films.com.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So we'll get that posted for anybody that. Can you go over that one more time? But we are going to post it as well.
It's www.studio222films.com.
Okay, thank you. And Rasel, thank you so much for. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say she also has shirts on the website, which I have one of them. I don't know if you can actually see it. It's black with purple lips.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But there's several shirts on there also.
All right. Well,
And anybody
thank you,
needs to be
Rasel.
an ambassador. Sorry.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry I caught you up again. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, also, if you're interested in being an ambassador, there's also information on the website, or get in contact with Deborah Watson.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much, Rasel. Thank you so much for your being so brave and today and sharing your story, because I'm sure there's other, like I said, there's other women out there and men. Don't forget, men are also abused, and it's really important that men come forward as well. So thank you very much, Rasel, and I'll be talking to you soon.
All right.
So we hope to see you again next week.
Coming up next is Johnny Rooster Morning Mouth
Okay, and then next is Johnny Rooster's Morning Mouth
with Jeff Ward.
with Jeff Ward. He, Johnny is a great host, and you want to stay tuned because it's a lot of fun, love, and laughs, and I really enjoy the show. So coming up next is Johnny Rooster Morning Mouth. Well, Rasel, take care of yourself, and I'll be talking